Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And as promised, Mr. Ryan Pineda. How you doing, sir?
What up, man? Good to see you.
So you did something here recently that actually sparked me reaching out to you again. Probably everybody knows you. You're all over social media doing amazing things, 8-figure business owner, all these amazing things. I reached out to you because of something you're doing for free. You created something that was called The Wealthy Way, or thewealthyway.com, that kind of spoke to me. And I'm like, I'm going to reach out, see if we can connect again, because I think more and more people need to hear this. So first off, thank you for doing it. I can see how it's going to help people, but if people haven't heard about it, what is it? Why'd you do it? Let's start there.
Yeah. So when people hear the wealthy way, it kind of creates this intrigue of like, what is the wealthy way? Like,
yeah,
tell me. And it's been something that I've been thinking about for a while. I've had this idea in my mind for years. I just didn't know how to articulate it. And I also didn't know if there was really like a demand or a need for it. And as I started creating content and getting feedback from my audience, I kept getting common questions that I kept seeing, of like, how are you able to balance it all? Like we see you with your family, we see you working out, we see you golfing, running all these businesses and making content and, going to church and all these things. Like, how do you do you have 100 hours in a day? Like,
yeah, Vegas gives Ryan the special 30-hour day. That's what I think happens.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, I mean, it's not as crazy as it seems. And so in bits and pieces of content, I would explain like one piece related to their question. And then another piece of content someone would ask. And I just compiled everything together. And I'm like, you know what? I need to create a course just teaching people how I do it, how I live life, essentially. Yeah. And another thing was, I realized there were so many gurus out there that were preaching a message that was so different than what I believe. You see it with hustle culture, right? Everybody's like,
grind
12 hours a wet day, like whatever, sacrifice now for later, a very common thing. Your family will understand down the road, and
you're doing it for them.
And I'm like, dude, that's not true. Like, you just don't stop. Like, that's the thing. Like and especially as you start living a lifestyle that's more, you have success, and then you build this bigger lifestyle, and then you're like, crap, well, to support this bigger lifestyle, I got to keep working, and like, I can't stop.
Welcome to the rat race.
Yeah. And you create the rat race for yourself, even though you're making money.
Wheel gets bigger. Been there.
Yep. And so I just realized, like, people are given the wrong message. People don't even understand what wealth is, because to me, I started to like look at the happiest people that I knew. And I started to look at people that, were perceived as successful. And I saw that like the happiest people I knew had balance in all these different areas. They weren't just like identifying with their business or their following or whatever, how much money they made. And yeah, money plays a role. We all need money to live our lives to the level we want to live it. But, it's not just about money when it comes down to it. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to create all the tools that I use and give them to everybody. And so I ended up creating The Wealthy Way, which is a course. I think the course is around 4 hours long. Okay. And then I ended up creating a planner. And the planner is something that I created literally for myself. It was a very selfish planner. I'm like, this is what I want. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And
software for one person.
Yep. I'm like, this is what I want. It doesn't exist. And, I'm going to create it. And so I create it for me. And then I go through it last year in 2021 for an entire year. And it wasn't the software that it is today with The Wealthy Way. It was a Google Sheet that I created with all these different things. And I go through it for a year, and 2021 was my best year of my life in all areas, because I was keeping track of everything. I was holding myself accountable. I was setting the right goals. And as I went into 2022, I was like, you know what? We need to create this for the masses, and we need to make it in a way that is user-friendly and simple and something people are going to want to use, because the spreadsheet I was using was like, it was good for me, but it was too complex for the masses.
Yeah. Excel can do that to people.
Yeah. And so I hired a team of developers. We created this software for the planner, and it's really good. But then, I also figured if people are going to be living the wealthy way, it's too tough to do it on their own. And that's one of the core principles of the wealthy way, is that you can't be alone. You have to be with other people. And so I was like, how am I going to create community around this? And so I started a Discord community for all of the wealth builders, anyone that follows the wealthy way. And, they're all in there just supporting each other, posting their goals, talking about all these different aspects of life. It's super cool because there's nothing like it. There's no like community you can join where everybody is thinking in this similar way, and trying to like live life in the similar way. And so, there's a ton of real estate groups or flipping groups or whatever, but there's none that are like this. And so as I created it and mapped it out in my mind of all the things that I think someone would need, the wealthy way was born. And then I said, okay, what do I want to do with this? Like at the end of the day, I'm putting a lot of time, a lot of money. I spent over $100,000 in developing everything that we're doing with the wealthy way and things you haven't even seen yet that we're going to be releasing. I'm like, okay, with any business, right? How are you going to get to profitability?
Yeah.
And what's
where's break even, man? Where's break even?
And I was like, okay, I could charge the course. I could charge a monthly subscription for the planner and all these things. And I started thinking about it and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give it away for free. And totally different than anything else I do. People know I'm all about making money and like building businesses. I was like, I'm going to give it away for free. And because I just truly believe people need it.
Yep.
And if business comes from it, great. Like,
you and I both know businesses kind of come from it. That's no question. Loss leader, whatever you want to call it, marketing 101. But I think, get in a time machine, jump ahead 3 years, maybe 5 years. I think there's a good chance, and I think it's awesome that you, Ryan Pineda, will be known for the wealthy way. That'd be like everybody gets to be known for one thing. And that's going to be, that's right there. I think what I've seen in the wealthy way, it's just everything that it is, it's going to really help people. I think you're going to have to get over the thing. There's probably a little hesitancy from people thinking, hey, it's free, but are you going to get me later? Where's the upsell? None of that's there. The planner's there, all that there. There is nothing, right?
Yeah. And that's the point I try to make to people is like, look, I've done the quote unquote free webinars, which have a pitch at the end. Literally in the wealthy way, I tell people how the seminars work. It's like, there's a point of, there's an acronym, which we could talk about for wealth.
Sure.
But one of them is education. And it's like, how do you do self-development and improve? And I'm like, one of my favorite ways is I love going to seminars. And I show them behind the scenes. I'm like, this is what a seminar looks like. Okay. If the seminar is free or cheap, it's literally impossible for the person running the seminar to not upsell you because it just doesn't make sense financially. If they have a higher ticket one, then they don't necessarily have to do that. And I'm like, I prefer this way as an educator. But my point is, like to what you said, whenever something's free, people think there's a catch, right?
There's a catch, yeah.
And I've been trying to I see it in the comments and all the stuff. People are like, yeah, this is whatever. I'm like, dude, literally go through it.
Yeah.
Tell me if there's a catch or not.
It's 4 hours. It's pretty awesome. But let's do the acronym. That's really what caught me. I was like, oh, he's really thought about this. This is not just some one-off lead generation thing. This is really, and I didn't realize you had done it for a year. That it makes total sense now that I've connected the dots.
Yep. So the acronym is called WEALTH. And so ironic, right? The wealth.
Yes. Shocking, Ryan. Shocking.
So the 6 attributes of wealth are W for worship, E for education, A for affluence, L for lifestyle, T for team, and H for health. Okay. To me, those are the 4 core pillars at which you should be setting goals on a yearly basis. And, when most people set goals, they really only set them for, like money, essentially. Yeah. I want to just buy this or
X dollars or that widget.
Have this many rentals, buy this many flips, right? But to me, it's like, if you're pursuing all these different things, you're going to live a life that is completely different than what you live today. And so like with worship, it's all about things faith is a part of it and your relationship with God, but it's also about, are you being generous? Are you serving? Are you volunteering? Do you have goals for those things, right? Most people don't. So, putting those in perspective, and we go over in the course how to actually think about those and set them. For education, what are you going to do to increase your self-development? How many books are you going to read? What kind of podcasts? What kind of seminars or courses or coaching, mentors? Like, what are you going to do to develop yourself? Affluence. This is the one that everyone, usually makes goals for. Money. Like, what are you going to do on the money side? How much passive income? How much active income? How many properties are you going to buy? Like those types of things. Lifestyle. This is one that I actually didn't have before that I added later because I'm like, where does this fit in? Where, vacations and, nothing is wrong with buying a nice car and having a goal to do that. Like, so lifestyle is all about kind of those fun things that, you got to really plan in your life, because for me, vacations are a super important part of my life. I talk about this in The Wealthy Way. The whole idea was finalized while I was on vacation in Mexico with my wife. I sat there in the jacuzzi thinking about it, and I'm like, this is how it's going to be. I figured out the exact model and blueprint I wanted to do because I just had time to relax and like get away from everything. So lifestyle is very important. Team is all of your relationships, your spouse, your friends, your family, your coworkers, your followers on social media. What kind of goals do you have for all the relationships in your life? And then lastly, health, right? We all know health is important. And, what are you going to do goals wise for your weight, your body fat, your hobbies? One of my goals this year, I want to become a 6 handicap in golf. Like I'm super dedicated to it. I need to improve my golf game.
What are you today? Where are we starting from?
I'm about a 13 right now.
Oh, okay.
So I've got to drop 7 strokes, and not going to be easy.
No.
But because I know that that's the goal, though, I can create other things to help me get there. And so like one of my daily habits, we also have this in the planner, is that I'm going to practice golf every day, some form of my game. So I bought a net, I bought a putting green, I bought all this stuff. So, long story short, the planner helps you stay accountable to all these goals that you set, right? And the planner is something you use every single day. And I can promise you, I've learned this in business and I've learned it in my own life. Like if you're constantly tracking your goals and what you're doing, you're going to be far more likely to hit them than if, you're just like, hey, this is my goal. And then you look 365 days later and you're like, did I hit it?
No.
Yeah. And for me, I know when I'm not on pace or I'm getting off track because I see it every day. I'm like, oh, dang, I said I was going to read 36 books this year. It's been 6 months and I've only read 10. I need to hurry up and, get on track. So that's what successful companies do. That's what successful people do. They're just, instead of veering off the path and then like going way off, they veer off a little bit, then they get back on. Yep.
Yeah. So again, folks, thewealthyway.com, correct? Thewealthyway.com.
I bought both domains, thewealthyway.com, wealthyway.com. Those domains cost me a lot of money too.
I bet they did.
Part of the fee.
Yeah, those were not cheap.
Yep.
That's amazing, man. Well, thank you for all you're doing. People need to be checking it out. So many people ask me all the time, either goals or time management. This is the way, the wealthy way.
Thanks, I appreciate that, man.
Of course.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.